I'm not saying the police are bad people, but they've got a job to do. So are we. Their job is to investigate. Our job is to defend. Clients will sometimes turn around and say to me, what if I say this? What if I say this? You can say whatever you like. You can say you're Superman, you're Batman. People can pay for their freedom.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the CEOCAST, the number one podcast for showcasing business and entrepreneurship. Now, today, you lot join me at a law firm. I'm with the one and only Akhmed Yakoob. How are you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah, my brother. Thank you very much for taking the time out and coming all the way down here.
Thank you for letting me film up here, man. This is wicked.
Thank you very much. Your channel is growing hugely, immensely.
It's been good. I have one question for you to start off with.
What?
Is there really a defense for every offense?
Of course there's not.
Okay, I thought you were going to say yeah.
No, there is actually. I'm only joking.
Yeah.
See, there are some offences that are absolute offences. So there's no defence in law for them. So you either did it or you didn't. For example, possession of a firearm. If you're in possession of a firearm, you're in possession of a firearm.
Is there no getting away from that?
Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and set the bell notification to all so you never miss a single episode.
There is, once you plead not guilty,
Yeah.
then technically you are putting forward a defence because you will be telling the court what your explanation is or what your reason is for behind you saying not guilty.
Yeah.
So there is a defence for every offence.
What sort of, can you say what sort of cases you've had where a defense in anyone else's eyes wouldn't have been possible?
There's been a few, there's been loads, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Most recently, I represented a guy from London. He got caught, well, he didn't get caught. A car was found, crashed.
Yep.
A crashed car was found. The police go to that car. The occupants have fled. The police attend to that car and they do their checks and they find out who the car is registered to. So they approach the person who the car was registered to. That car was registered to my client. Sorry, that car was registered to that person. So he said my client had the car at the time.
Okay, yep.
So the driver of the car, his cousin said, was driving, and that was my client.
Mm-hmm.
And car is abandoned after he gets hit. There's a robbery that takes place. They couldn't prove that my client was involved in the robbery or the car was involved in the robbery.
Yep.
The police come to the car and they found a slam gun. You know what a slam gun is?
No, what's a slam gun?
A slam gun is basically a homemade gun. Yeah. So if you've got a slam gun and you get caught with it, it's basically you've got it to cause damage. You haven't got it to scare someone because it doesn't even look like a gun. It looks like a pipe.
Yeah.
It's basically two pipes and then you put a bullet in there, a shotgun bullet, and you let it off with a nail. So I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
But they make it somehow. I don't know how they make it. I don't want to know how they make it.
Homemade strap.
Yeah. So if you've got one of those, you're going to do damage. So he was charged with, once they've done the inquiries and everything like that, they've arrested him. I wasn't initially representing him. So they've arrested him and they've questioned him for possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. Why they intend to endanger life? Like I said, if you've got a slam gun, it's not to scare someone because it doesn't even look like a gun.
It is to endanger someone.
If
you're carrying that out and
cause
about,
damage.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're carrying that, you're going to cause damage. So he's been questioned. It doesn't say much in the first interview. I wasn't representing him. He drives down to Birmingham and he sees me and he tells me the circumstances of what's happened, everything. Police have questioned him. And I told him there and then, the police will charge you. He said, why? There's other people in the car. But they don't know who the other people are. You are not going to tell them who the other people are. How are you? Yeah. Otherwise, the other people will go for you. So they've charged him. They've charged him for dangerous driving and they've charged him for possession of that gun as well. We had a trial in a London Crown Court. His defense was simple. He admitted to the driving. He admitted to being the driver of the car. But he said other people were in the car who may have left that gun there. Simple, but so effective. People think it's rocket science. Most things are simple in criminal law. Most defenses are very simple. He could have said, well, hypothetically speaking, he could have said, I wasn't driving the car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that would have caused a lot of issues for him. The police had to only prove, or the CPS, the prosecution had to only prove that he was driving the car. Once they proved he was driving the car, the gun would have been very easy to prove. What I like to do is keep very close to the prosecution case. You have to keep very close to most of the time they are right. I know they do make a lot of mistakes as well. You can't take their word for gospel.
Yeah.
But they do make mistakes as well. You have to keep very close to the prosecution case. I describe it to my clients as surfing waves. So you are going to surf the waves with the waves. You're not going to go against the waves. You will then drown. So you go with the waves and then you go when the coast comes. You get off, go. That's exactly what happened in that case. Everyone thought he was guilty. He was told he's going to get 14 to 15 years from his previous legal team.
Yeah. So in that scenario there, wouldn't they then question who else was in the car? And if he doesn't tell them who's in the car, he could be charged with, trying to hide.
No, there is scenarios that can happen, and scenarios like contempt of court or trying to obstruct the cause of justice. But if you're having a trial, and you're putting forward a defense, don't forget it's up to the prosecution to prove the case against the defendant. We don't have to prove that somebody's innocence. All we have to do, I describe it as a glass of water. It's crystal clear. We have to just muddy that water a bit. That's it. We don't have to prove anything. So the prosecution have to make the jury. So jury members who actually try the case, and the jury members are upstanding members of the community with no previous convictions. 12 of them are chosen at random. So they decide whether somebody is not guilty or guilty. The prosecution have to make them sure. And I sometimes say this, sure could mean, let me give you an example. If you are on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you are on the $1 million question, you think you know the answer.
Yeah.
But you have all your lifelines intact and you think, okay, let's phone Ahmed. He may know the answer anyway. Just to be sure.
Assurance.
Just to be sure, just for the assurance.
Yeah.
Just to be sure, let's phone him. That little doubt that you've got, that assurance that you need, that's the doubt. So if we manage to cast that much doubt, the jury can't be sure. They have to be 100% sure. So for our client, his defense was simple. Yes, I was driving. Yes, the car crashed. Yes, people ran away. I can't name the people. They can't disprove that. They can't prove that no one else was in the car.
Yeah, he admitted to him driving.
He admitted him driving. So, and that's how we played it. We said, hold on, he's admitted he was driving. If he had something to do with the gun, we said to the jury members, why would he admit being at the scene? Yeah. Why would he admit he was in the car if he had something to do with the gun?
Yeah, if he was guilty, he would have, said not guilty and,
Exactly.
Yeah, would have gone on.
Keep close to the prosecution case. And yes, I'm guilty of something, but not guilty of everything what you're saying.
So would he have still been charged him or not charged at all? No sentencing and nothing?
I think if he ran that defense, he would have most likely been convicted.
Okay.
He got 14, 15 years.
Yeah, that's a long bird. Yeah. How long have you been practicing law for?
I qualified in 2014.
So it's roughly almost coming up to 10 years then?
10 years, man.
How many cases would you say you've dealt with so far over the years?
I don't know,
Still young at heart, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm in terms of hundreds of cases, man.
So each case you get, would you say it's always a new challenge for you?
Yeah.
Why?
Every case is different. Every case is different to its facts and evidence. No two cases are the same. No two cases will ever be the same.
So you can't use your experience from that case in particular and, another instance comes up later on in the line, 6 months down the line. Can you use the same experience and the same principles from that to this?
Yeah.
Or do you have to find...
Of course, the principle will remain the same, isn't it?
But the factual evidence and...
The facts will be different. There's some factual evidence. There's something called circumstantial evidence where something is not a fact. So, for example, factual evidence would be if somebody's seen me hit you, they can say that's a fact, somebody's seen you hit me.
Yeah.
Circumstantial evidence would be, for example, you made a phone call to someone and they think that phone call is in relation to, for example, selling drugs or conspiring to murder someone or anything. That's circumstantial because they're thinking they can prove something. Yeah, phone call was made, but they can't prove exactly what was said in that phone call. That would be circumstantial evidence. So every case is different to its facts and to its evidence. And we have to work with what we've got. Sometimes we don't have enough to work with. And I have to turn around and tell people, listen, you have to plead guilty. The jury are not stupid. Clients will sometimes turn around and say to me, what if I say this? What if I say this? What if I say this? You can say whatever you like. You can say you're Superman, you're Batman. It's about it being realistic. It's about making a member of the public, making it believable.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, a shit hot story, and it doesn't have to be 100% true. The test is the only might has to be true. If we cast a little doubt in the jury's mind, that's all we need.
Yeah, it's all a mindset game then.
It's all a mindset game. I've not spoken to a jury member. I don't know if you've ever spoken to a jury member. It'd be good to get a jury member on your podcast.
Yeah.
How do they look at a case?
Yeah. My dad actually done jury work once.
You should know then. How do they look at it?
I don't know, I didn't ask him.
They can't really speak about it much.
Yeah.
Well, I think after the case they can.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that the same with, being law, and once the case has been done, you can then speak about it?
you can then speak about it. I done a case once, actually, to be fair. Yeah, I have spoken to a jury member. Not about the case or anything like that. Nothing to do with the case. I was doing a case. It's a very serious case. It's a conspiracy to possess a firearm with intent to endanger life. Birmingham Crown Court, 2018. I was in the trial, and a jury member was someone who goes to the same gym as me at the time.
Yep.
And I was he kept looking at me during the trial, and I was thinking, why this guy kept looking directly at me all the time? So one of the days at lunch, he comes up to me and he said, you go to the same gym as me? I said, oh yeah, okay, I do. And that's the only conversation we had at the time. So I had a duty to court. I had to tell the courts that the guy just spoke to me outside. The court didn't think nothing of it because we never spoke about the case.
Yeah.
That client was acquitted. I met the client I met the client in the gym after a few days. The case is finished now. And I said, what was it? His response was, the way our client was portrayed was like, he's a good man, no previous convictions, no nothing, educated, went to college, keen sports person, got a family, got a girlfriend, is working as a mobile barber. The other 8 people were people with previous convictions. So the way that panel looked at my client was that guy has got a lot of friends who are in crime, but he's not a criminal himself.
Okay, yeah.
That's how they looked at that case. But I don't know how you can't read a jury. Sometimes they will have blank faces and you think, what are they thinking? Are they thinking that my client's guilty? Are they thinking he's innocent? What are they thinking?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Old faces.
I had a case last week, the massive drugs case, and I'll be honest with you, very good result, and I was actually surprised with the result. The jury went out on a Thursday, 4 or 5 p.m. That's when they stopped deliberating, so they can't deliberate after that. When they go home, they can't deliberate. Deliberate basically meaning thinking about the case, talking about the case, saying if somebody's guilty or not.
They can't give their opinion or anything like that.
They can't. Yeah. Once that court day finishes at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
They can't do nothing after that.
They can't talk. So the case finished at that time, so they can't deliberate. They've come back on Friday morning, 2 weeks ago. And within an hour and a half, they've come back and they've said, we've got a verdict, which means they've got a verdict of either guilty or not guilty.
Yeah.
I was very shocked. They came back and they said not guilty within an hour and a half. Now, I don't know what those jury members were thinking, but they must have believed what my client said in the dock, because he spoke and he gave evidence. You have a choice in criminal cases whether to give evidence or not. Giving evidence is basically going into the dock and getting questioned by first us and then the prosecutor getting cross-examined by them. So you have a choice. He took the choice and he gave evidence, and he was very good in the dock. The jury must have believed him. That's why they convicted him. Either they believed him or they never believed the prosecutor at all. But he was out, he's come out.
This is interesting, right? I'm going to ask this, and I don't want to beat around the bush behind it, yeah? In an instance like that where they come out and you think it's going to be guilty and they turn around and say not guilty, do you think there's ever instances where the prosecution do some sort of convincing to the jury behind the scenes, if you know what I mean? Convincing in a maybe a harmful way or not so harmful way or threatening
They can't do that though.
Why not?
If they get found doing that, that's contempt.
That's if they get found doing that.
It's true, but I
know it might sound a bit silly, but...
No, it doesn't sound silly. Nobody's asked me that question before, man. It's a good question, to be fair, but...
That's why this is CEOCAST.
It's the best, isn't it? I've never experienced it, to be fair, so I can't say something that I haven't experienced. It might happen, it might not happen, but I think it's very easy. If a prosecution does that, it's very easy to get caught.
Yeah.
It's very easy, because a jury is guarded by a jury bailiff. They can only deliberate in that room. So when they go out all together. When they come in, they come out all together.
Yeah.
So you can't convince 12 members of the jury, even if you know one of them. How are you going to convince all 12
of them? Yeah.
All 12 of them. And there is one foreman or 4 women. And they pick that amongst themselves whilst they're deliberating in that room. So if you convince one person, just say, and you haven't convinced the 4 man or 4 woman, I'm not saying it happens, but I'm just saying if it does happen, I don't think it can happen. That's why a jury is independent. And that's why I like jury trials. Sometimes they can go against you, but I like jury trials. There are some countries that do judge trials only. So you're in front of a judge, and the judge knows the law. The judge knows how much it takes for somebody to be found guilty. The judge doesn't need directing the law because he knows the law himself.
So you specialize in criminal defense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you do more than just criminal defense, though? Being a lawyer?
You can do anything you want. You can practice all areas of law, but I specialize in just this criminal defense.
Why? Why did you choose just criminal defense?
Criminal defense, because first of all, I was brought up around a lot of criminals, so I knew there's money in it. I will make money in it. A lot of people say, I have to be honest in it. You have to be honest, bro. A lot of people say there's no money in criminal law. I think I proved a lot of them wrong. I proved a lot of them wrong. I'm not saying I'm the richest person in the world or something, but I proved a lot of them wrong. There is money in criminal law. You just have to have a network.
Yeah.
I grew up in an area called Aston that's all they know, to be fair. Kids, they are changing now a bit. They're going into other stuff, which is good stuff. They're realizing that you can make money in other ways apart from doing crime.
Yeah.
So, but I grew up around criminals, and there was an incident that happened. I've mentioned it before in a few podcasts, that an incident happened when we were young. I was 16, 17 years old, when one of my close mates, he was arrested and charged for attempted murder and convicted. He got found guilty. He received 9 years. We had just come out of school, and that happened to him. And I made the decision sort of then. I thought, you know what? If he was represented properly, he would have saved 9 years of his life, or 4.5 years, because they have to save half of it, don't they?
Yeah.
He would have saved 4.5 years of his life. So that was my sort of first sort of inspiration, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, so this is what I want to talk about. So I done a podcast this morning with a chap who also studied law, and he also specialized in criminal defense at the time as well. And he studied it, and he chose to go down the law path because of his upbringing, and the environment was around was almost like misbehavior, and he eventually goes down the criminal sort of path. So what was your upbringing like? You know, that was the story of your friend. But what about you personally?
Upbringing, one thing I have been doing since I was very young, it's been instilled inside me. It's not even by my parents telling me all the time. Simply, it's just been instilled inside me, is praying salah. And that is the main reason that I did what I did, and I didn't go down the other path, because you know what's right and what's wrong. If you just study Islam, if you just read the Quran in Quran translation, in English translation, you will know what's right or wrong. We've been given a lovely guidance, lovely book by the Lord.
Yeah.
Just have to follow that.
Of course, yeah.
My main, I think the reason is namaz, because even when I was a young kid, I'm not going to go into what I used to do, but even if I did something wrong, I had that guilt factor all the time. And that's been with me since now, even now. Now, of course, I don't do anything, but just say even if I'm late for salah, or if I miss, I don't tend to miss it, but if I'm late, or if I miss it, if I'm not that focused in praying, you could tell when your iman is strong, when your iman is weak, you could tell within yourself.
Of course.
So I still have that guilt factor. I've had that guilt factor since I was young. And I think that's what stopped me from doing a lot of stuff, being scared of the Lord, nothing else.
Yeah.
Mainly.
But you would have been around it then.
Of course.
Yeah. So what made you get into law then?
Get into law.
Was it just the instance of your friend there?
That was one instance, and there's another person who I knew as well, don't want to say who he was, that got arrested again for a massive charge, and similar sort of period, both at the same time. So, and then the family of that person ended up paying that solicitor who represented him at the time a lot of money. And I thought, hold on, one case. Imagine you have 10 of them in a year. Imagine you have 100 of them in a year. Imagine you have 150, 200 of them in a year.
Yeah.
And then we're balling. So that was one of the motivations. And I knew if somebody can do it, if he can do it. I was only a young kid, and we were sitting in an office. I'm not going to say which office, which city, but we were sitting in an office, and I was sitting and listening to the guy. No disrespect to the guy. And I was thinking, if this guy can take this much money out of that person just by speaking to him, I can do it. I can do it better.
Do you think there's an element of gift to the gab when it comes to law?
Of course there is, man. You have to be confident. You have to know how to talk. Alhamdulillah, I think I'm blessed with that, you know. I can talk. I can sit here and talk for hours.
Yeah.
And I probably won't even bore you. I don't know.
No, of course not, no.
But I can sit here and talk for hours.
Yeah. That's a good thing though, isn't it?
Alhamdulillah, man. So a lot of people, they don't reach their full potential because of shyness, because they can't talk, because of lack of confidence. They be very talented.
Yeah.
They be very able, but they don't reach their potential because of confidence, because of lack of self-belief.
Yeah.
You have to have self-belief in that. You got to go into the room and think, you know what? I'm the man.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not the man, I don't care who the man is.
Yeah.
I can still sit here and hold a conversation.
And say you are the man and believe that you are the man yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once you believe something in your head, you've achieved half of it already.
Yeah.
You're 50% there already.
What was your experience in law school like? Because law is arguably one of the hardest degrees, right?
It is. There's a lot of
And
case
it's quite
law.
brutal as well.
Yeah, it was okay. I had a lot of people who were helping me, to be fair, in terms of my studying. A lot of friends helped me out.
Yeah.
To be fair. I've not forgotten them. I know them. I still chat to them. I think law school is designed specifically just to pass exams. It doesn't teach you much. It teaches you in terms of socializing with people, other potential lawyers and stuff like that. But in terms of actually teaching you what to do as a lawyer, it doesn't teach you that. It doesn't teach you. You don't learn that until you actually walk into a practice. I think that's with any sort of educational setup. You don't learn much because what is it? You're sitting in a lecture room and a person is in front of you and just talking. You can learn that for video on YouTube these days. So in law school, I hardly attended it. I have to be honest with it.
Yes. I thought you would have been punctual and everything like that. You know, on point.
No, it's after that. It all started after law school, to be fair. Now I'm to the T, man.
Once you got qualified.
Once I finished law school, there's another course after law school, legal practice course.
Yep.
Once I finished that, that's when I got a grip of myself and I thought, you know what, it's getting serious now.
Is that the one that's a year?
That's 1 year.
Yeah.
That's after the
LLB. Yeah.
So I did that local, just down the road, to be fair.
Yeah.
2 minute walk. So I used to go past this place when I used to go there, to be fair. And after that, that's when I settled down. I had kids by then and I thought, you know what, I need to knuckle down and do something now. That's when I changed properly, to be fair.
So I'm assuming we'll get to Maurice Andrews shortly, but what was your first job that you had then?
First ever job.
Yeah.
I used to do milk rounds. My family were milkmen.
Oh, is it?
So wholesale milkmen.
Yeah.
In West Midlands. So I used to be a milkman. I used to get up in the morning.
What age?
Not free from my dad.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I used to be free. And get up in the morning, drop milk off to people's shops, and then in the weekend go and collect the money from him.
Yeah.
That was the first sort of job.
Keep that going. And what else? What else did you do as your time was going on?
I worked in a hair shop.
Was you a barber, yeah?
No, not a barber.
No?
Selling hair,
Okay, yeah.
cosmetics,
Yeah.
and the hair and beauty shop, selling it, not cutting it. That's it. That's the only job. And then legal field, I had a job before I got into Maurice Andrews where I had to complete my training contract. That's the first 2 years after you finish off your legal practice course. You need to go and work under someone for 2 years. So I worked there for 2 years, but it was, again, a voluntary job.
You have to do that, is it?
You have to do that to qualify.
Okay.
I have to do that to qualify. I've got a few people here that are doing their training under me.
So then tell me, how did you get from when you first qualified in 2014, you said, right, to Maurice Andrews? Let's talk about that journey.
2014, I came here first. I knew of this building. I'll quickly touch on it. So this building was basically the document exchange host for this local area.
Yep.
Document exchange is like a service Royal Mail. It's like Royal Mail, but the host was here. So all the local offices, they used to bring their mail here, put it there. Document exchange people used to come and take the mail, and then in the morning they drop the mail off again. So when I was at my old firm, I used to come here and pick the mail up. And I used to do that twice a day, in the morning and drop the mail off in the evening after work finishes. I really liked this building. And I thought to myself at one point, I would like to work here. That's what I'm saying. When you think of something, when the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a thought in your head, I think it's for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
I believe it's
I
for a
agree with
reason.
that.
100%, because he wouldn't put a thought in your head that you can't manifest.
Yeah.
So I had that thought.
How long ago was this? How long ago did you have that thought?
In 2013.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost 10 years ago. Yeah.
Almost 10 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Time flew, man. I had that thought, and I was, in 2014, I walked into this office then, because I had a lot of trouble. I don't want to keep going into my problems that I had at the old firm. The guy wasn't a good boss, man. You know, people want to see you do good, but not better than them.
Yeah, of course.
That's
Yeah.
the attitude.
Yeah.
So I think he
Because
just
they want to remain on top in their eyes.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think he liked my energy, because I've always had that energy. You know, when your energy is contagious, you have to be careful, because that will bring a lot of envy and jealousy
Yeah,
towards you.
100%.
And it's not like I'm doing something wrong. I'm just being myself. If people like me, they like me. And a lot of people hate me. I don't know. But I don't think he liked the attention I was bringing. It's up to him, innit? But I had a very bad period. Them 2 years were the worst time of my life. But in a way, it was the best as well, because that's where I got the motivation from. Because I thought to myself, I need to prove this guy wrong, because he used to come out with all sorts. I'm not going to even go into it. But I thought to myself, I need to prove this guy wrong. Forget about everybody else for now. This guy needs to be proven wrong. So I walked out that place after a huge argument, and I said to him, give me a few years and you'll hear my name. That's what I said to him. That's it. Because how? I go, you don't worry about it. I walked out. Came here, met Mr. Andrews, lovely gentleman, older guy, 70 years old, looked like Morgan Freeman, spoke like him as well.
You sure it wasn't him then?
It wasn't him. It wasn't him.
His
But
brother, long lost.
it could have been his brother. Could have been his brother. I'll show you a picture of him. I'm going to find a picture of Maurice.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah.
And I'll try to get a video of him. I'm going to WhatsApp him and say, Maurice, record a video and send it to me. I'm telling you, the way he talks and everything.
Just FaceTime him, screen record it and send it.
Yeah, I'll do that for you.
Exactly that.
Spoke to Maurice and said, Maurice, look, I told him who I was. He didn't know me, obviously. I've told him. The thing is, look, the world works in a very mysterious way, because I've just met this guy, and he said, who are you? And I told him, this is who I am and this is who I work for. That person who I used to work for trained here in this very building. He done his training contract with Maurice at this very building. So the world is just this very funny place, and Allah works in mysterious ways. And
So Maurice knew who he was.
Maurice knew Maurice was his
His mentor sort of thing.
mentor,
Yeah.
his training principal. So I said to Maurice, I need a job. Maurice said, no, I'm winding down. I want to retire. I don't want to employ you. I don't need any staff. I'm getting rid of my existing staff, because I want to retire. My intention is to retire.
What was he going to do? Close up shop?
He wanted to close the shop
Okay. Yeah.
or give it to someone else who was already working here, but I don't think they were interested, or they didn't have
That drive to do it.
drive to do it, to be fair. So anyway, 2014, I've come here. Maurice said, I don't need any employees. I said, I'll work for free. You don't need to give me money. He said, why would you work for free, Mr. Yakoob? You've just qualified. You're a qualified solicitor. I said, you don't worry about that, Maurice. I want to work for free because I want to work underneath you. I want to learn. He couldn't believe it. He thought this guy's gone mad. I said, look, I want to learn. I want to be here. I saw the opportunity. I'll be honest with you. I saw the very good opportunity. And I thought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not place me here for no reason, not to just get a job and get £2,000-3,000 a month or £4,000 a month.
So what was the opportunity you saw in your head?
He said he wants to retire.
Yeah.
I knew this practice had been running then for 28, 29 years. He's got not a huge client base, but he's got a good reputation. You can't buy a good reputation.
No, of course not.
So if he wants to retire, if I take over, that reputation will
Carry on.
with him, with me. So I knew I had that. That's the opportunity I saw. And then obviously he kept hinting to me, I want to retire. And then at one point he said to me, I really like you. I said, why? Because you're a very trustworthy person. I said, why? Why are you saying that for? Because he goes, you've given me this money. I gave him £90. It was £90. I wrote up a statement for somebody and I charged him £90. And I gave him that £90. And he said, you're a very trustworthy person, Mr. Yakoob. I go, what are you saying that for? Because he's just giving me the £90. I go, it's your money. It's your place. It's not my money. He goes, you'll understand when you get your own business what I meant. Okay. And he said, I really like you. Okay, thank you, Maurice. We've formed a very good relationship. I get along quite good with people. I've got good people skills, alhamdulillah. I think I have.
Yeah, you do, 100%.
So then what happened is, 2015, we sat down and Maurice said, look, I want to retire. Whoever was working here at the time, she doesn't want to do any, she doesn't want anything to do with it. Well, what are you saying? I said, what do you want? He mentioned a figure to me. At the time, it was too high. I said, no, I'm not interested.
Can you say what that figure was?
At that time,
Yeah.
I don't like to say, but yeah, I'll say it was.
We'll cut it out later if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you, it was about £500,000 for the building,
Yeah.
and for the actual business at the time, it was £250,000.
Okay, so 750 altogether.
So you're talking 10 years ago, man. And it was too much for me at that time. I never had a single. At that time, I never had a single penny in my pocket. Not even a single penny. I've not got nothing to my name. My father was a wealthy man. But one thing, I've not been one to, rely on my father's handouts. I always wanted to do something. This is what my advice to everybody. Okay, if your father's done well, your cousin's done well, your brother's done well, that doesn't mean you're doing well. You have to create your own legacy. You can't live in other people's
Creating your own wealth. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't live in other people's shadows, man. I know some people who are just there and their fathers are very successful, their families are very successful, but they don't want to
Build their own thing.
They don't want to do it for some reason. They're comfortable.
Or add their own value to that existing business.
Exactly. And this, like, if our fathers, my father, who was born in Pakistan, can become a wealthy man, can become successful, we're born here.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more ideas. We have to, go over and beyond that now.
Yeah, of course.
If we do the same thing that they've done, you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So at that time, I had no money at all, not even a single penny to my name. 2016, January, we made him another offer. Wasn't budging. Back and forth. 2016, in September, we shook on a figure. The building figure remained the same. Property value, he wasn't going to change that.
Yeah.
But the business, I bought him down.
Substantially?
You know, as Pakistanis,
we can go to the point where they get annoyed and they're like, yeah, all right, take it.
£100,000.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bought him down to £150,000.
Okay, so let me ask you, with the figures that he mentioned in the beginning, yeah? As you mentioned that your dad is wealthy, and I agree with you in that you should build your own legacy and stand on your own leg. But why didn't you ask your dad for a loan and say to him, look, Dad, I'll pay you back over this course, this duration? Because you could have got yourself in the door earlier.
I could have saved 6 months to 1 year of that process, to be fair. But I would have been down £100,000. I was embarrassed, bro.
Embarrassed of what?
Asking that much money from my dad.
Yeah, but your dad loves you, so you know that he would help you.
He'd give it, but I don't know. I wouldn't be self-made then, brother.
Agreed. And because if you're paying him back, then essentially
Pay him back, yeah, because that's exactly what I did.
Or in hindsight, a bank loan.
Yeah, I could have done that as well. But no bank's going to give how old was I then? 25, 24, 23-year-old. Got nothing to my name, no securities. No bank's going to give me that much money.
Yeah.
At that time.
No, yeah.
So, but this is what I did do though. I got him down to that figure then, under £150,000 it was. And the meeting took place in my office now. I'll show you later where my office is upstairs now. The meeting took place there. And I'll be honest with you, Allah's my witness. I didn't have a single penny and we shook on it. I shook on a deal, £650,000 without having a single penny in my pocket. So I've come out of the room. I said, okay, deal's done now.
We're not finding 650.
I need to get some money. I need to get some money now. And that's when I started making some phone calls. And alhamdulillah, my brother, within a month, I was more or less had everything sorted, that deposit money and what I needed to pay him. The business was what I was main concerned about. I could have got a loan on the building anyway.
Yeah. So where did you get the money from then? Just asking around friends and family and stuff?
Friends and family.
Yeah.
A lot of people helped me and I've not forgotten them people. Even got to at one point I was 10 grand short, 5 grand short. So, small figures of people as well. Some people gave me quite hefty figures. Some people gave me, but at that time I had no money. And at that time I said to them 6 months, give me 6 months and I'll pay you back. I didn't know. They didn't know my business is going to be successful. They didn't know.
Yeah.
But I think they probably knew, okay, if he doesn't pay it, Dad will probably pay it back.
Yeah. So
they probably knew
some sort of backing.
Yeah, they probably knew that in the back of the head. But those are the people who knew my family. There's some people that didn't know my family. Some people only I knew personally.
Yeah, who would still help you out.
Who still helped me out.
So how old were you when this happened? 23, 24, you said?
Yeah.
So talk me through this feeling, yeah?
No, not 23, 24, I'm 27, 28 now.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, so that was about 6-7 years ago, you said, yeah.
Yes.
So talk me through that feeling, yeah? When you first stepped foot in here and it was your business, your building, what was that feeling like?
Best feeling in the world, brother, man. It's like, you know what, I've got a newborn baby here now, or I've got 2 scenarios looking at it. I've got something that was dying, a plant that was dying. I'm going to revive this now and I'm going to show everybody. Brother, I didn't have money to paint this building. So, and I was painting at one point and my brother came over and he said, here, take the money and, get a painter. I said, no, I'll do it myself, don't worry. So I had me and my nephew, 2 of my nephews painted it. It's all dusty, disgusting place to work. And I should have took a before and after picture.
Did you not?
And I didn't. I didn't think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think after it's going to be like this. It's going to stay like this. I thought I'll take it next year. But slowly, I walked in here and, it was a very good feeling, alhamdulillah. And I was thanking the Lord, man. I was thanking the Lord and I was thinking, I don't deserve it. But at the same time, I was thinking, now I need to get this going. I need to pay these people back. I need to start making some money. So when I've come, most of Maurice's staff have gone now. I'm left with 2 staff members. One of them stayed for about a month, 2 months. She left. Another guy who was there, he said, Mr. Yakoob, I'm just going to Tesco's to get some biscuits. He disappeared. I've never seen him in my life after that. I've never seen him in my life. I stood to God.
So you didn't even come back with your biscuits?
No.
So tea time was dry.
Dry, bro. Why is it drinking just tea?
You need some rust to go with that aside.
No. Tesco's just down the road, so I kept looking at his time.
Where is he? How long is it?
11 o'clock, And now I'm at 5 p.m. and he's not here. And I had to go to a police station or something at the time. And I remember the police were phoning me, Custody Sergeant phoning me, where are you, Mr. Yakoob? I was like, look, the officers, I couldn't leave the office. But anyway, in the end, I thought, you know what, he's not coming back. 5 o'clock, I phoned him a couple of times. That's it. He never answered the call, and that's it done. After that, I've never met the guy, never heard of him again. I know he's not a lawyer. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
If he was a lawyer, I would have known by now, but he left, man.
That's crazy.
I know. And then I was left alone. I was totally alone then. So we're now in 2017, we're in now, in April 2017. Now he left in May.
Yeah.
2017. That guy, when he went to get the biscuits, was in May 2017. Since then, I've not seen him. I've not seen the biscuits as well. Tried to get him some Oreo biscuits as well. But
next time I come here, I'm coming in with a whole box of biscuits.
Oreo ones,
yeah?
Yeah, I like the Oreo ones.
All right.
Them, man.
Oreos it is.
Yeah, you have to. So he left in May 2017, but April 2017, my brother, I had got a bank loan comes into it. I took an overdraft £15,000 just for, paying the bills and stuff like that. In March 2017, I only had £1,500 left of that overdraft, so I was on £13,500 overdrawn.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, you know what? The people who were saying, this guy's only going to run this business for 6 months, it's coming true. It's going to come true. But I thought to myself, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it comes true, it comes true. At least I've given it a shot.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I'll manage to pay the people back somehow. They're not going to come and kill me or hunt me down. Somehow I'll pay them back. They're my friends anyway. So, okay, well, I'll take another 6 months. I knew I would still try and do something else. But at that time, I thought the office was going to close down. It was March 2017. April 2017, alhamdulillah, I got a case, made me about 8 grand. Since then, my brother, I've not looked back. Alhamdulillah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I've not looked back.
Alhamdulillah.
And I've not been short of money.
So, in the end, you made it all work?
I made it work, man. I don't know how it happened. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult. But if the Lord was not pleased with me, I don't think this would have been possible. The Lord would have been pleased with me, and alhamdulillah, my prayers were answered. Someone's prayers are answered. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, it's impossible. I'm not just saying it like it's a big thing or I'm boasting, my brother, but it's what I did in my first year of practice. People who have had their practices for 20 years, 25 years, they didn't do those sort of figures. And that was my first year of practicing. Don't forget, the first year after the staff left me, I was alone. So I used to come into the office alone in the morning, open up the office, reply to the emails, shut it up, divert my phone to my mobile, go to court, do my court hearings, come back. If I had to go to a police station, I would go. from 5 o'clock onwards, I used to just be here doing my letters and just catching up with the work. And I was leaving about 10 o'clock every day. So coming about 6 in the morning, leaving I did that for about 6-7 months. But that was worth it in the end. So then I started getting staff. My first staff member was a family member, is still with me now. And slowly just build the practice up, alhamdulillah.
This is what I want to know and want to dive deep into, yeah? Because my good friend, my brother Mikey came, he done a podcast with you. And obviously, it's no joke that, you know, your business is known, and you're also very well known as a lawyer as well, right? So you've done well for yourself for reputation and financially. Yeah, Mikey came up here and he said he saw 3 Urises outside. Yeah. And I've seen a Uris outside right now.
That's mine.
It's yours, alhamdulillah. And so this is what I want to get into, because as you said in the beginning, other lawyers would have thought that there's not much money in criminal law. So what is it that you done different? Aside from your work ethic, which I respect, but what did you do different to make sure that that money is coming in?
Network, brother. Big network. I've been networking since I was a kid. So if I meet you, I'll make sure you remember me.
Yeah. I will remember this podcast, 100%.
I'll remember you. I'll remember you, bro. You ain't gonna forget me. You're never gonna forget you. So if I meet you once, I'll make sure you remember me.
Yeah.
Not because, like, that's not my intention, but it's just the way I am. I think I'm
As a person.
I think I'm easy to get along with. Yeah. So at that time, when I took the firm over, all I was doing, I had key rings and I had business cards. I don't carry business cards with me anymore. I don't want people to have my number.
Yeah.
But at that time, I wanted my number to be on speed dial. Everyone, I don't have that phone on me. It's the office phone. That's one of the work phones.
Yeah.
So every person I used to meet, whether it be a beggar on the street, whether anywhere I go, restaurant, anywhere I was going, I was networking. Okay, brother. Yeah, who are you? I'm a lawyer. Going to the gym, meeting people, giving my cards out. I was networking next level, fully next level. And alhamdulillah, I looked after people. I looked after a lot of people over the years. Even though I never had no money, I will still entertain you, my brother. Just say, if you come now, if a group of my friends have come down from London or a different city, Bradford, for example, and I've got no money, I would phone somebody and say, okay, I need £300-400. Why? Don't worry about why I need to feed people. Go grab £300-400 of him and fed you guys.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, I grabbed £300-400 of him, gave you back. That's how I operated, bro. Mm-hmm. For the first 4 or 5 years of when I got into this profession, that's how I was operating. That's how I did it. I'll be honest with you. There's people some people get too arrogant, bro. Some people, when they get a degree or they get certain qualification, they think they're better than people. They don't chat to people.
They think they're on top of the world.
They do that, and I don't. I make an effort to make conversation with people, to get to know people.
Yeah, and I think in the world of work that you're in, you have to make that relationship with whoever it is as well. Because I might be, hopefully not, I might be your client tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Hopefully you don't be, but even if you don't, you will tell 10, 15 other people.
100%.
Me,
yeah.
But it's good. If you tell the truth, that'll be. If you say, yeah, this but it's good. If you go and lie to them, it's different. But exactly, you will go and tell 10, 15 of the people, I know this lawyer.
Yeah.
Mainly, it's word of mouth. Word of mouth is powerful. Social media is powerful, but word of mouth, because if you speak to somebody who I've actually represented, that is going to be a more credible referral than you just watching a video of me on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah. So
word of mouth is powerful. Most of my work has come in the early years when I started, word of mouth. It was all word of mouth and getting results for people. I was going out of my way for people a lot.
And I don't want to stereotype criminals or anything like that, but criminals generally hang around with criminals. So if one criminal's got into danger, they're going to say,
that's it.
Yo, Akhmed, bust me case.
I was spreading like wildfire in Birmingham, especially. I was spreading.
I can imagine.
Along the criminal fraternity, I was very well known, very well known.
With your reputation, does that mean you could then charge more?
Of course. Of course. You name a figure, people can pay for their freedom. Think about it now. If you're about to go to prison now for 10 years, you're looking at 10-year custodial sentence. In those 10 years, if you were out and you had a normal job, just say normal job, what's minimum wage these days? £1,500?
Yeah, roughly.
£1,500?
1,500, 200, sorry, 2 grand.
So you'll work on 2 grand.
Yeah.
2 grand. So in a year, that's what, 24 grand?
Yeah.
10 years, how much is that?
240 grand.
240.
That's if you save every single bit of your
Save every single bit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just forget saving then. Half of it, let's save half of it.
Yeah.
120 grand. That's if you get a job, minimum wage. What if you have already got businesses? What if you are already doing stuff? It's a running business and you're making double that, just say, argument's sake, you're making 200-300 grand anyway. Would you pay me 50 grand?
Yeah.
I'd say, help me out. Get me, I don't want to get 10 years. I'm not guilty. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm innocent. It's wrong. Prosecution case is wrong. Of course you would, man. Anybody would.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
Anybody would. And most people, this is what people don't understand though. A lot of people don't understand this. Most cases, people are entitled to legal aid. Legal aid means the government pay me. And it pays well as well. It pays well. For some cases, big cases, it does pay well. I'm not going to sit here and say legal aid doesn't. Again, that is another stereotype that people got. Legal aid doesn't pay well. It's okay. Alhamdulillah. I'll be honest with you, it's good. It pays well. It's okay.
I'm assuming it wouldn't pay as well as, the clients paying you themselves.
Of course, yeah, that's different. That's different. But if you're a young kid and you get arrested for murder, you're not going to have 50 grand, 100 grand to pay.
Yeah, no, you're not.
The government know that.
Yeah.
So you'll be entitled to legal aid.
Yeah.
You only don't be entitled to legal aid. You're only not entitled to legal aid if you're earning over £30,000. But most criminals are not earning that anyway, especially in the books. They're not earning nothing. They're probably signing on anyway.
Do you think, okay, so in your experience, criminal defense, are criminals making that much money?
No, most criminals are broke. I've said this before, man. They don't make money. How much money are you going to make? How much money are you going to make? You do a fraud. Just say, for example, you do a multi-million-pound fraud. You're not going to do it alone. You're going to have a team to do that fraud.
Yeah.
So you have to share that money. For example, there was a robbery that took place. I don't know, you must have seen it on social media. A jewelry shop got robbed in Ladypool Road.
This is a while ago, the one in the van that reversed into it or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
These boys got convicted. I didn't represent them. These boys got convicted. I seen the video of that.
Can I just say, the second you said you didn't represent them, I already know where it's going, but carry on.
You already know how it is. I don't need to tell you. Yeah. I didn't represent them. I was looking at the video with one of my kids, I think is the middle one, Amir. I was looking at the video with him and he said, I don't know why I said, but I said to him, these guys are going to get picked up 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the line. They will get picked up. And you know what sentences they're going to receive? He said, what? 20 years minimum. And he said, no, they won't get caught. Watch. I go, listen, we're in England. Too many cameras. South side. They've got too much resources. You are not getting away with it.
Yeah.
No matter what. So anyway, the jewelry that was taken, I think it was, the shopkeeper said it was about 200 grand, 300 grand. There's 5 people on that CCTV. Divide that by 5. 60 grand. There's another guy who was in a getaway vehicle. So you divide that by 7 now. So 50-something thousand pounds now. Each. That's the value that the shop would have sold it. They can't sell it at that value. They will sell it at probably half that value on the black market. 20 grand each. 20 grand each. 20 grand each. They are inside for about 20 years now. Is it worth it? Most crime...
20 grand for 20 years.
It's not worth it.
$1 grand a year.
It's not worth it.
You were better off signing on.
Exactly. But there you go. In the end, it's not going to be worth it. The only thing criminals buy is clothes.
Yeah.
Our clothes and cars. They don't buy the cars, they rent the cars out.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they can't buy the cars on their own names because they will get
caught straight away.
They'll get caught straight away. And they don't like to. The proper criminals, you won't see them around. They don't like
flashy.
Bring attention to themselves.
Yeah.
The people who are bringing attention to themselves, they're the little low-level criminals. And that's what I'm talking about. The world is run by criminals, the actual real criminals.
But you just never see them because they're not going to boast about their crime or anything like that.
Exactly.
They're not going to flash and flaunt how much money they got.
Exactly.
If you look at, are you familiar with who Hush Puppy is?
Yes.
So this is my example, him flaunting every single bit of his earnings.
That's a lot.
And I think everyone had the assumption of what he does. But on his Instagram, he was promoting the fact that he's a property developer.
Yeah.
And then he got caught with the fraud.
Yeah, somebody told me about that.
Yeah.
So exactly. He was, and if you speak to him now, I don't know how he works. He was in the Middle East, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Dubai.
I don't know if they can I don't know how POCA is there, Proceeds of Crime Act. I don't know how it works there. the law there, but I'm sure they will try to reimburse money back off him.
Probably, yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
And
The proceeds of crime, isn't it?
yeah, proceeds of crime.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in Dubai.
Because that's what they're currently trying to do to Tate, I think.
Yes.
Proceeds of crime, I think.
That's in Romania though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if in Dubai how it works, but
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
they will do if they do the process, they will squeeze every penny out of him. It's back to square one then.
Yeah. Was it worth it in the first place?
Was it worth it? I don't know about Tate though. I don't know I don't know what they're going to do. I actually don't know about that, brother. I feel really sorry for him, you know. He's a Muslim brother, man, and I feel very sorry for him.
Do you think you could represent him?
Not in Romania, no.
No?
I would love to.
Is there because everyone's saying on social media that the Romanian due justice system is corrupt. Have you had any experience with it?
No,
So you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. But to be fair, I've heard from clients, Romanian clients. I represent a lot of Romanian clients. They tell me that it is a corrupt system there.
Yeah, because they ain't got any evidence of anything. Anyway, I don't want to speak too much on Tate. I want to speak about you. Do you ever sleep? Because here's two things we were speaking about on the car on the way up, yeah? Well, number one, you're a lawyer. So your clients are probably talking to you or trying to get hold of you 24/7, yeah, regarding the case or trying to get in contact with you, etc. And also the other side of it, you run your own business. So business owners never sleep anyway. You're always thinking about your business, and lawyers never sleep. So when do you ever switch off? I mean, just before we arrived, you had clients here? Were there clients?
Your clients here?
And what were we at, 10:30 at night right now?
They left at 9 p.m, yeah.
Yeah, left at 9 p.m. So what's it like for you?
That's a good question, you know. I hardly sleep. I don't switch off. Like yesterday, I got into bed about 11. I've got a good routine trying to get into bed early, but I don't switch. The phone's a bad tool, man. It's the devil, and it keeps you awake.
But at the same time, it's what brings you your income.
It does.
So you got to find a fine balance.
You got to find balance. So I'm on my phone quite a lot, mainly replying to my emails. Yesterday, I got into bed about 11 o'clock. I must have switched off about 12 and I went to sleep. And I got up about 4:30, 5. And that was it. But it felt like I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
It felt like I haven't had, because sometimes when I'm sleeping, it's like I'm not sleeping.
Light sleeper.
Yeah, have you heard of it's like dreaming? So you're dreaming, but it's like you're awake and
you're still awake. You're still aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I hate that though, but it happens quite a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
And a little tick and I'll be up.
But do you think that's because, I'm sure you have a lot of stress in your industry as well. Do you think that's because of the stress keeps you awake?
I think this is one of the most mentally draining jobs in the world. Because you're taking other people's stress onto you.
And you got to digest it and figure out a solution.
And I've become immune to it, but it still goes into there, innit? It still goes into there. You won't make a reaction about it, but it's still getting stored in your brain.
Yeah.
Every day, something new. And so some people don't realize though, some people, like somebody will phone me, no disrespect to anybody, but somebody will phone me and I won't answer the phone. I must be busy, isn't it? I must be doing something. Then they'll phone me again 2 minutes later. Then they'll phone me again 5 minutes later.
A lot of them, man, they might have just been arrested.
I know, but that annoys me because you know why? I'm thinking, when I'm going to get free, I'll send you a message and I'll tell you I'm free.
Yeah, by that time, they're already in prison.
That's the problem. That's what I say to people. If you get arrested, don't try to phone my mobile. Call out Maurice Andrews Solicitors. See, product placement. Yeah. Call out Maurice Andrews Solicitors.
You got fat product placement behind you.
Call out Maurice Andrews Solicitors because it'll be hard. First of all, the police won't let you go into your phone.
Yep.
If they're coming to arrest you, I know people who they are getting arrested and they're trying to look for my number. And the police have come and they say, what are you doing? Taking the phone off them. They don't know the firm's name now. And they keep telling the police, Mr. Yakoob, the police in the Midlands don't really, I'm not going to say they don't really like me, but I know situations where clients have asked for me personally, but they haven't managed to get me at the police station. So I've managed to, after that, get them hold, or they managed to get hold of me at the court stage.
That's interesting.
They do that quite a lot.
Do you think that's because they know that you can get them out of this situation? And they don't want that? Or what do you think the reason is?
It could be because they know I'm not going to leave any stones unturned, and if they make a mistake, I will bring it up and I will say something about it. There are some people that overlook certain things and think, leave it, yeah. I don't overlook nothing, especially when it comes to the police, because I'm not saying the police are bad people, but they've got a job to do. So are we. Their job is to investigate. Our job is to defend. The police cannot give their opinion on somebody whether they are guilty or not guilty. Their job is to investigate the crime. Guilty or not guilty is left to the jury. So when the police get a bit ahead of themselves, that's when I get annoyed. When they start making assumptions of people's guilt. I've been in police station interviews when there's a police officer has blatantly said, I think you're guilty. It's not your decision to make. Sorry, man. It's not your decision to make. It's not your opinion to form. You can't form an opinion. Investigate, put evidence in front of us, and then we'll give you answers, or we won't give you answers. It's up to us.
It's your decision at the end of the day.
Yeah,
It's at the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe you coming on board makes the police officer question their integrity within their career.
Could be, and some of them are just jealous. It's jealousy as well. It's not just about the work.
Because they want on the other side of the law that's not paying them as much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Gotta say it.
How much is I don't know how much a police officer gets paid.
I don't know how much police officer get paid. 30 grand a year. 30 grand a year.
30 grand a year.
Yeah.
Come on, it's hard to make ends meet these days with the energy prices going so high. It's very hard. So I'm not boasting or anything. I like to keep it humble. But when I pull up in my Lambo or my Ferrari at a police station, they don't like you, innit?
Which Ferrari have you got?
F8.
Oh, is it? Okay. So you got the Super and the SUV for the kids.
Yes. I like Jeeps as well. I like
either way. You can say something to them without saying something to them.
Yeah.
By pulling up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way it should be.
Your presence in it, but they don't like it, man. Of course they don't like it. They're chilling in the Fiestas
in Birmingham.
Yeah, they don't like it. They don't like it.
Ahmed, I want to ask you, yeah? I want to revert back to how it feels for you right now, yeah? So 2014, where you'd qualified, you got that job, you'd run it for 2 years and you didn't like your boss, to where you are right now in this position where your business is, where you yourself are, you got your Lambo parked outside, your F8 parked at home, you got your kids, you got your missus. How does it make you feel?
Blessed, bro. Beyond imagination. I did have a little premonition about it a couple of years ago. This was going to happen. I didn't think it's going to happen that soon. I didn't think the Lord was that pleased with me that he will give me such blessings that soon. Alhamdulillah. That's all I can say.
What more is to say than that?
Alhamdulillah
for that. Where'd you take your business from here? Where'd you take yourself from here? Obviously, I see you popping up a lot on social media now, so you're probably out here doing a lot of social media work as well. Just like this podcast, you can use the clips, etc. What is it for you that you want to gain out of social media?
I want to give something back to the people. A lot of people don't know the basics. That's why I made a YouTube channel. I've started making the videos, more detailed ones on YouTube, because people don't know the basics of law. And if we need more people to get educated and less people to be convicted. If someone can learn something of me and that helps them,
yeah.
I've done my job. I want to give more. And alhamdulillah, inshallah, I want to grow as well. The world's your oyster.
Can you defend yourself in court? Can someone defend themselves in court?
Yeah, I think you can. There's nothing stopping you from defending yourself from court. But sometimes you be in situations that you can't. The courts don't think it is wise to cross-examine certain witnesses. For example, if I get picked up, I don't think I will, or you ever will for domestic violence, they won't let you cross-examine your partner.
Yeah.
They think it's unfair because it will affect the way you give evidence, the way you answer questions because of the fear you have of me, stuff like that. Certain situations you can't do it. But generally, you can represent yourself. Anybody can represent themselves. I wouldn't, though.
No?
Why? I don't know. I wouldn't. First of all, at a police station, if I'm arrested at the police station, just say now,
yeah,
the police will not give me disclosure. Disclosure meaning the evidence against me. They wouldn't give it to me unless I've got legal representation. So unless I have legal representation, they will give it to my legal rep. And then the legal rep will have a discussion with me and then we can go into interview. If I don't have a legal representation, then it's arrest and they'll go straight into interviews. So you don't even know what questions they're going to ask you.
Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Go on.
3 times.
3 times? Okay.
3 times.
As a solicitor?
No.
No? Before? Once. Okay.
Once.
This is interesting.
Can't get into it, that bit. There's reasons, we'll talk about it later. Got arrested when I was in school. It was for having an offensive weapon. I got a youth caution at the time.
What was the offensive weapon? Can you say?
I'm ashamed of it. It was a knife.
Okay.
It was a little pen knife I had. Nothing big. I wasn't going to kill anyone.
May I ask why you was carrying that?
It was actually a pen. So it wasn't a pen knife. It was a pen. You take the lid off it. It was a knife.
Yeah.
Turned into a knife.
Yeah.
I liked it at the time. I wasn't going to stab anyone with it or hit anyone with it. I wouldn't do that.
Was it like a cool thing to have?
I think so. That's what it was, isn't it? A few people had it in school and I just bought it. I think it cost me £3. I had to sell 2 dinner.
£3, is that it?
Yeah, it was £3. That's what it was. It's like a razor, you see. A razor on top of a pen. Like just the size of 2 razors.
Yeah.
All it cost me £3. I had to sell 2 dinner tickets for it. I bought it. I just kept it on me.
Yeah.
And we was going to school in the morning and we was late to school. So on purpose. And the police saw us. So what are you doing? You're meant to be in school here. And I must have looked a bit suspicious. I wasn't that confident them days. And they searched me and they found it and they arrested me. And I was in the cell for a couple of hours to let me go. Second time I got arrested now, college time, Birmingham City Centre. It was for violent disorder. Affray. It was a big fight, just broke out. I wasn't involved, but I got arrested. And they let me go. And that's it really. I did a little bit of experience and that's something I wouldn't want to do again.
The third time, obviously you said you can't speak about it. Well, why
I can't speak about it too much because that's going to be podcast number 2 between me and you.
Is it something? Yeah, 100%, we'll do it.
That's documentary. That's a movie that is, brother.
Is that still ongoing? Is that the reason why you can't speak about it?
It's still sort of ongoing, yeah.
Okay. So it's a recent one.
Yeah, recent.
As a solicitor. That's the interest. That's definitely a part 2.
As a solicitor, I'm telling you, part 2 is a movie that is. Yeah. When I get into that story, I'm not going to even give it away. We'll get into it one day. Very good questions you've asked me. Some questions that other people haven't asked me, so it's very good. And I was expecting that of you as well. You're growing, mashallah, very well, and may Allah bless you with the best of success, man.
Thank you very much. Inshallah. Thank you. And I wish you all the best as well, especially with your business going forward, you personal life, everything.
Jazakallah, man.
Wish you all the best. Ahmed, I think we're going to wrap it up there then. I want to appreciate you and thank you very much for coming on the podcast, sharing your story and sharing your knowledge, because I didn't know anything about law, and sitting in front of you right now is quite incredible to know.
A lot of people don't know the basics of law, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming and giving me your time, my brother. Time is everything, man. Precious time is. And just before I go, I want to say, remember, there's a defense for every offense.
That's it. And then we're going to end the podcast on that. I'll see you lot next Sunday. Peace. That's the best way to end the podcast.